So these are few important options. Next, after understanding how to deal with the jQuery properties, HTML methods, some more important methods are there. Another important method is generally jQuery methods. We have append and append to. These are the methods we have. We have insert before, insert after, like options also. Right. Append to are enough to understand. Actually, append to already we learned in JavaScript append child, right? How we can add into. Here we can use append and append to options. That means this is nothing but these are used to add. Append is used to add element into add elements into parent. Add element into parent. So this is to add. This is also add element to parent. Both are. Then what is difference is actually, so current, you can simply say add element into current parent element. That is what actually the point is. And append to add element into specific parent element. I will show you difference how we can do that. Adding to the elements, we can use append and append to. Now one more option we need to understand is about each dollar dot each function. Actually, it is an iterator to read key and value collection from collection. You can read key and value from by using each. It is technically an iterator to read value. So these are the basic things you need to know. So how we can handle them. I will show you just how the iteration will work first and how to use append and append to options. So in the jQuery, that is the jQuery function, and let's design a simple screen here. Yeah. So what generally we need to do is while presenting here, suppose we have a variable. So var, suppose this is products. Products is an array, and into that, so, or suppose categories. Categories is an array. I have options like electronics, like footwear, okay, like some fashion, okay. These need to be added into any color location. That means, for example, we have an ordered list. In that ID is equal to, so we are defining the ID as LST categories. So suppose OL categories. Okay. Now we need to read the elements from this collection. Generally in jQuery, we can use so each function collection. Collection is categories, and it uses a callback function. This callback function can access the key and value. Array keys means 0, 1, 2. Value means the value. And I want to value means now the value contains these values: electronics, footwear, fashion. These values we need to add to ordered list. Generally, we know we in JavaScript we are using create element, add element, and all append child. First we have to create element, but here simply what we can do is we can just put a dollar, and here we are using into which element you want to add. So hash OL categories, that is the ordered list. This ordered list, to this ordered list we want to append, that means dot append. What you want to append? I want to append which element. Directly you can write that element li. Okay, close li. That means this list will be added, and you are writing in a loop. That means now when I run this and see, you can see that the list item will be added to that, and you can see 1, 2, 3 will be there. That means 3 list items added depending on this iterator. Now value need to be printed here. Then we use dollar and value. You know that this is an expression. We learned already JavaScript expressions. So that means we are creating them and adding list item into this categories. List item contains this value. I will save this and refresh, and these are available. That's very simple. How you can add the items into it. That's very simple. So we are configuring this. That is generally how we can use append. You can do in another way also. For example, suppose I have and this is suppose a heading I am giving append to OL. Okay, this is appending to OL. I'm using here suppose another heading append to drop down. I will create a select here, select, and ID as LST categories. Into this I need to add drop down. To the drop down I want to add. Then how do we write? Simple. We write another loop, dollar dot each categories, and function will use key and value, and add that value. Then what we can do is dollar, we can create an option. Okay, better put an expression, right? We can create an option element, and this option element will contain the value as text, and this option element should be added to drop down. Then we can use append to hash. What is the drop down? LST categories. So this is also possible. You can create element and add, or directly add an element to that parent. Append and append to. And you can see that is also working fine. So that is very simple. Earlier we have to write lot of logic. You have seen in JavaScript how to create a drop down and add drop down dynamically. Now it is simple. You can easily handle that and you can manage it. So that's how generally we need to create and configure and add the options. All right. So this is technically how we can create options and configure the options. Right. So append and append to. And here we are using an iterator for reading the elements and configuring the elements. So you can use general for in all JavaScript functions will work, but jQuery have an iterator, we can use it. If there is complex data also, you can do. For example, suppose I have var data. Suppose we have data like this, name, TV, and price, and some price. Okay. And here we have name and mobile and some price and the price. I want to add this in a table form. Then creating table dynamically also I told you. So suppose append to table. So here we are creating a table. We are creating a table. Border as 1 and width is equal to some 200 or 300. And T head. So TR. So in that we have TH. So one is name, another one is price. And I need a T body. Into the body, I need to generate the row. Body is having an ID, T body. How to add? Simple. Write another each, $.each. So data is our collection, function. Okay. Now key and value. Key is referring to the keys 0, 1, 2 indexes. I don't want those indexes here. I will use value. Value, but value is currently object with name and price. So what we will do now? So we will create a row. Okay, fine. In that row, we will have two cells, TD. This is another cell, two cells. In the first cell, we are adding value dot name. That's it. In the second cell, we are adding value dot price. And important, I need to add this row into T body. That means dot append to hash T body. That's it. Now you can see it will add to T body. Into the T body, we are adding a row. And this adding will repeat until the values are finished. And you can see a table is also ready. So that's how generally we manage the data tables. Configuring and managing of data tables. Right. Technically, iterations and appending. Earlier we have to create element and append, but now no need to create element, directly write the element, it will be created and it will be added. You can use append or append to for that. So no need to explain much because already you know how to dynamically handle them. Now you can implement this in your examples of JavaScript. So here we have to learn how to create iterations. You can get the key and value references. It depends on your requirement. So key means array means it will get 0, 1, 2 keys. Value means it will get the values. Right. So this is one option. So how to get the value, how to get the properties also. But one more point is some elements cannot be binded. Some elements cannot be binded with value. Elements cannot be binded with value. Then how to deal with them, we will see. Right. How do we deal with that? We will see that. Everywhere collection starts with 0 only. Where it started with 1, here anywhere it started with 1. What key values? Where it started with 1, I am unable to see there. This one, ordered list. Ordered list. What? That is ordered list now. You are generating and adding into an ordered list, right? Yeah. Right. So fine. Now that is general how we can manage and work with this iterations. Now some point is some properties cannot be handled directly. So in that case, we need to use means values, inner HTML, inner text are not suitable. Then what we have to do is we have to bind to attribute actually. So there is a function attr. So it binds the data to attribute of any element that is required, attribute of any element, because everything you cannot bind. So you have to bind to attribute. For example, this also I will keep here. Suppose when we are binding, so name, price, here we have. Suppose this is second one is some shoe. So or say shirt, some price. And here we say some speaker and some price. And here it is having photo, some photo is there, photo field. And this is in /images/jbl speaker .jpg. That is the path. And we have photo, and we have images/shirt.jpg. Okay, photo, fine. Now I want to add that photo into this table. That means I need to add that into the table. I need to display that inside the table. That means here what we do is, here we are adding. So in the table, we have th. So photo. And here one more cell should be generated here in the data. One more cell to be added, td. And here I am using img. And width is equal to 100, and height is also equal to 100. So or 50 is just size, width and height. And here image have src. I'm using, so src comes from an expression, and expression is value.photo. We are accessing that value photo here. That means image is applied there. We can directly define that here. That means src. We are dynamically, you are adding that here. This is okay. That means to that SRC, we are adding that photo. That's it. That means a photo is generated here. But individually, that is photo. That better I will give you this example here. Means how we can manage. Yeah, that is the photo, including photo. But individually, if you want to add, suppose there is a picture here, img, id is pic. So to this image, I am defining width and height. Width is 100 and height is 100. And suppose temporarily border is equal to 1. Now here I want to put a picture. I want to add picture here. Then on load, body load, that means when it is ready, I need to get that. So that means hash pic. Hash pic is referring to a picture image. Now pic, I am trying here dot src. Src is not there. So because it doesn't know that this ID is belonging to an image. In that case, what we have to do is we have to use attr, attribute. What is attribute name? Attribute name is src. What is value? Value is images slash some shoe dot jpg. That's how we define. That's how we define. Then it will get that and display that image there. So everything you cannot access directly. For that you need to give attribute, attr. Through attr you can define the attributes and you can configure the attribute. So technically, so for every element it is not possible to define directly. You have to use attributes, attr. So through attr you can configure that. So this is example. And suppose we have a picture here. We have a picture here. So let's keep a picture here. So we are configuring a picture here. So this is the picture. And on load, you have to just keep that. That's how syntactically you define. When you are writing inside iteration, you can directly write. So if you are configuring, then in this way you have to define. These are all important jQuery related HTML and CSS. So how we can apply HTML, CSS effects for elements. Now actually jQuery provides some predefined jQuery effects. You can use these jQuery effects. So ready-made, you can write your own CSS or ready-made effects are there. These effects will allow to handle more interactions actually. Means interactions in a better way, simple. Actually jQuery effects are so many. We have display effects. We have fading effects. We have sliding effects. So, and miscellaneous, we have miscellaneous effects. Generally category. So display effects like we have like hide, we have like show, we have like toggle. These are the effects. Fading effects like we have fade in. So we have fade out. We have fade toggle. So we have like fade to. All these are fading effects. Sliding effects like slide down, like slide up, and like slide toggle. All these are there. If I show one, all others you can do in the same way. Miscellaneous like animate is there, like delay is there. So many are there. These are all various effects actually. What is advantage is you don't need to write much CSS, you can directly use them. You can directly use. We don't need to write manually. So many are there. So we can simply define them. Right. Let's see one simple example how we can handle. These are ready-made, simple, very simple to handle and use them. So let's see here, I'm adding a new file. So animations.html. And here I'm defining animations. So head section, let's keep script source coming from node modules, jQuery, this jQuery.js. Okay. And one more is the body. Okay. And here we have a div. So just a button show. And here we have an image. So we have just an image. We kept some image below. And here I have image src, some images, some shoe.jpg, shirt.jpg, something. So with height, something. So these are height options we have. Okay. Now this is a div with an ID. Okay. Now what should happen is we need to write a jQuery function here. So dollar, so function, and when jQuery is ready, on button click, that means we can directly access hash button dot click, because we have only one button. On button click function, what should happen? Just very simple. So this pick dollar hash pick dot toggle, I'm giving a toggle animation, and here I am defining show hide like this. And toggle is nothing but, you observe when I run this, just you have to access and apply that toggle. Now I click on show hide button, it will hide and it will show. It's very simple. We can even keep some animation time. Suppose 3 seconds it has to take, transition time. And you can see that I click here, then it will be hidden. And click and it will be displayed. That's simple. Earlier we need to write a lot of CSS and all for that. I use a toggle. I can keep here, so slide down, slide toggle. I'm using slide toggle. That means it will get with the slide effects. This is slide effect. That is slide down and slide up. So that means the content will slide down and slide up. So these are ready-made effects. I don't need to tell you everything. Just one effect, you try others. That's it. This is general, simple approach. So that means you can define animations and you can set the time. You can set the time. Generally, you can configure the time. So without time, it will be fast. So you can configure the time and define the time, right? How much speed it should be, how much easing it should be. You can define the effects, slide up, slide down, all these options you can configure. Actually, you can write your own effects also. These are all ready-made effects. No need to show them now. One is enough, because if I write here, instead of slide toggle, so fade toggle. Fade toggle, I refresh here. That means fading effect will come. This is fade. And again fade toggle. All right. So that is fading effect. So fading effect. You can get it with the fade effect and display with the fade effect. So one is enough. You can handle all of them, right? You can create your own effects also. you can do with anything in HTML, right? You have to write event for key up, key down. I think you are there in our JavaScript, right? If you are there in our JavaScript, no questions at all, right? You write to any event. Which event you will write? Text box event. For text box, which event will you write? If you want to do it on text box instead of button click, which event will you write? Tell me. For text box, which event will you write? Don't know. Huh. Whoever attended our classes JavaScript, they know key up, key down, key press, blur, focus. Am I right? Huh? No question at all. It is not like teaching you events again. You write for the every event you want. Any event. Here I am writing button click event. You write any event. Suppose on mouse over I want to do. You can do it on mouse over, right? Yeah. So these are all points. How do we handle the animation? One option is enough. One option enough to understand. So just one option is enough. And you can write on various, you can keep your own effects also. You can keep your own effects. If you want to keep your own effects, you can do that by using animate function. Animate function. For example, suppose animate function, suppose this pic can use an animate function. Animate function, you have to define your own. You can see it is object properties. What property you want? I want this object, some scale, width, height, positions we want. Suppose left. Okay. So left some 400 pixels. 400 pixels. That is left 400 pixels. On click, it will animate left to 400 pixels. So that is the option we have defined, right? So, and how much duration of time, you can see that. Generally, these type of effects, that means it has to animate to that. That means you know that if I have to keep left, right like animations, then obviously we have to set position also now. Without position, we cannot do that. That means actually this should contain a position. So that means we can say style. You know that how to keep left, right. So for hash pick, I'm giving position as absolute, position as absolute. Because without position, you cannot keep left and right options there, right? Then I click here, it will move to the left. We can keep that. It will move to that particular position. You can write your own effects. And CSS, no need to teach you. You already learned CSS. You write your own effects here, right? Just you need to understand how to do that. So you can write all your effects, transform, transition, scale, right? So how many seconds here? That means here you are defining the property. So, and I say some 2000 or 3000 milliseconds, 3000 milliseconds, animate 3000 milliseconds. Then it will move to that position there. All right. So this is animate, how you configure the animates. You can write your own animation effects. If you want to write your own, then you can simply use this animate. And I will not teach any CSS now here. Already we learned. You put all your CSS knowledge here to deal with that. That's what we need to know here. That means we can keep predefined animations and effects right on click on over and all this. Here simple. Suppose let's take a look here. So now here, how do we define the events? So that means all events are same as JavaScript. So no explanation required. One point is how do we write the syntax for these events? So how do we configure the events and event handlers, event arguments, all are same. Suppose I say password and the input type is equal to password, ID as txt pwd. And I need to verify the password strong or weak. So then I want to display the message in a span ID MSG. And we have to write key up event. Generally, we write here on key up, write a function and call here simple. What we need to do, so $# txt pwd dot key up event, and key up is an event. Okay. And here we have to collect the value and verify the value. That means we need two things. One is we need a variable. So this variable is password. It is coming from so $txt pwd dot val. It will come from the value, and another regular expression. You know, regular expressions are defined by using this. So that means so flower brace, square brace, right? A hyphen z. Suppose I want simple. So it is a hyphen z uppercase and 4 to 10 characters. That should be the password regular expression. I'm simply defining if on key up, if pwd dot match, you know, match function, match with regular expression. If it is matching with regular expression, then $msg dot text. In that we have to display that strong password, and else, so we need to display so $msg dot text. So that is weak password. That's it. We need to display that. So that means when user is typing something here, it will display the password here. That means I'm typing the password here. Then it says strong password, weak password. Here, one important is we need to display inside this message on key up of that particular function. And it should verify the values here. So one problem here is, so cannot read the property of match. So that means it is unable to read the property of match, because match is one function, so which is not available for the string. This is the string, password is a string, and match is not available for that string. Then here we are, so string functions, actually we need to know the string functions. How do we deal with the string functions? Already we learned some string functions, and this match string function we are trying to use here in this situation, right? Technically password is coming here. Suppose I say alert, suppose password pwd password. That means what password they are entering there. I am typing here. That means it is showing undefined. That means the value is not coming. That's the reason it is unable to match, because we need to verify that while accessing them. That means what you can do is these two variables, so you can define so inside this function, because actually what is happening is it is trying to read the value before it is entered. So that should not happen actually. Suppose if I am reading here, I am typing here, That means when you are defining here, so the password should verify and display. And you can see cannot read undefined. Why? Because this txt password hash, right? Okay. So now this password value will come and display. Now you can see it is weak password. And I am typing here password as strong password. That means I entered some John uppercase letters. Then it says strong password. So that means everything is same, no change here. So just what we are doing is we are accessing the value, matching with the regular expression and verifying it. So no change. Only the point is we have to know that here in your logic means it is clean separated. That means here nothing will be there related to logic. Everything will be in your code. Right? There is no code need to be defined inside the presentation. Here it contains only the presentation. That looks better. Rest of options are same, no change. Everything you configure in the same way, right? So that means here it is weak password. And if I entered uppercase letters, then it is strong password. So just you have to refer. All your events are same. No need to tell about them. Only the point, one more extra here is we learned about event arguments. How do we pass the event arguments and use the event arguments? Generally, event arguments, so JavaScript event arguments. What are event arguments? We have this send event. That means suppose on mouse move, some actions need to be performed. So in that case, or key up, capital letter pressed or not, we need to verify. All right, we need to handle that situation also. That means here I am writing here dollar. So hash, so txt pwd dot key press. So key press is a function. And in the key press, here you know there are two parameters, this and event. This refers to the current object, and event refers to the event object, means event related properties. Now here important is how we can access and use this. How we can access and use this. That is important. Generally, we call that delegate mechanism. I told you, function pointer, it uses a delegate mechanism. Here, event, how they can access, event properties, how you can configure. So the same approach we are using here. So that means what functionality to happen, we are configuring. So this time I'm using a simple event argument, that is on key press. I want to access the event related information. Then if you want to access event related information on the event trigger, then you can simply put here. Generally what we do is we pass this event. Through that event we can access all the members. That means suppose here I'm just keeping an option like I want to know so which key they pressed. We want to know which key they have used, right? So to understand which key they have used, then we know key code, character code, right? So we have to use those key codes, character codes and properties. All the events are same. So we can access them directly by using this. That means if you know that. So event dot key code, we have key code is greater than or equal to 65, and event dot char code, key code is less than or equal to 90. That means 65 to 90. Then I need to display some message. On key press, I need to display some message. So somewhere I want to display an alert or some message that caps is on. I'm just keeping here a heading, roughly, right? I'm keeping here a heading. I want to display there. Then $hash heading dot html. So say caps is on. So on, that message should come. Else, so $hash hatching 2 dot html empty. We are not configuring anything inside. Key press event. On key press event, we are accessing that and we are using it. These are all general options. So that means here we don't need to write both of them, right? Here this is weak and uppercase is used. So when uppercase is used, it should get that message and display. That means you have to use either only one, not both, because currently we are using both options here. What are the both options? So key up and key press. Anyone, you can use that. And you can display here, hash not required, right? Only one is enough. So that means here I am typing and uppercase, then it says caps is on. Any one is enough, both are not required. So you can put anywhere, but this is just, I removed it and typed, then it is okay. Capital letter is typed, then it says caps is on. Otherwise it is displayed normal. That's general. How we access and use them is general. So that is the reason if you are perfect in JavaScript, so it is easy to handle anything in jQuery. Just only the point you need to understand approach how to do. That's it. We can directly access the event and we can use the event related properties. All mouse events, key events, everything I told you. These are all the events. How do we handle the events and how do we work with the events? So jQuery events, jQuery HTML, CSS, and actually jQuery is also having a jQuery UI and jQuery AJAX. We need to know about jQuery AJAX. What are the jQuery AJAX methods and how do we deal with that? So what another is jQuery AJAX? How do we deal with? This is also a simple thing actually, very simple concept, very simple point. But this is very much required for all server-side technology people. Java, .NET, PHP, all these people who are learning server-side technologies, they need to know this very well because actually AJAX is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So what AJAX will do, it allows partial postback. That means without reloading complete page, new details can be added to page. That is the specialty of this AJAX call. That means generally whenever a new detail should come, entire page should load. Without reloading the complete page, the new details will come to the page. That is what actually it can do. So for that, so many methods it provides. Server-side technology people have to learn all these jQuery AJAX interactions actually. So when they are learning XML, web services and API like concepts, this is important for them. Here we don't know any server-side technology, but still we know that from server-side technology, data comes in a JSON format. And if data is coming in a JSON format, you can easily handle the data and consume the data and use the data. So main advantage of this is you can work with data offline. That is important. It avoids communication with the server every time. That's what actually the main concept of AJAX. So many AJAX methods are there. So many AJAX options are there. AJAX options. So most commonly used, we have dollar AJAX. So dollar. So we have get JSON. So we have dollar post like functions. AJAX have so many AJAX options. So like through AJAX itself, we can handle so many things. That means here it will allow properties. Through the properties, we can handle get, post, put, delete, and all. AJAX have several cycle related events. AJAX cycle related events like AJAX cycle. What is that? I will show you. So we have AJAX complete. So we have like AJAX. These are not required with dot directly. So just cycle method, life cycle methods. These are AJAX start, right? AJAX stop, like AJAX success. So AJAX failure, right? So these are all AJAX related options available. So by using all these, we can manage various interactions. So many are there. Actually, so it reduces the burden on server. You can handle interaction easily. So this is very much required while working with server-side technologies and integrations. So for example, suppose this is an example for the previous one. So password and all, this is example. Generally, suppose we have data, means nothing much complex here, just simple. See, suppose I'm creating a folder. So here I'm creating a folder. So data is the folder. In data folder, I'm having a file, products.json. It is a JavaScript object notation file. JSON, you know how do we configure the data. And this is name. So, and the property. So value. This is a JSON file. So that is here I am defining name. So, and here we are defining the property. So that means we are creating JavaScript object notation. It's an array of objects and all. Usually JSON type data contains key value collections, and the key value collections are defined in parentheses. So key is parentheses. This is some option like Samsung TV. And we have value. So price is some price like this. Actually, this type of data comes from server-side technology. So name. And here I said some Nike casuals. Okay. And we have price. So price. Yeah. And it is some price. Okay. Now I need to get this data and use in my project. Actually, this type of data comes from server side. I need to consume this and use it. Then let's go to the JQuery example and new file, consume JSON. Okay, let's create here. I want to get that and present here. So in the head section, we are just linking script source is equal to node modules, bootstrap, jQuery dist CS. Okay, that's enough. And in the body section, I have a table. So in the table, I need to display. So here I will say border is equal to 1. Table width is equal to some 400. And T head and TR and TD So name and price. I need to generate this into T body. Okay. Now here, what we have to do, script on dollar function. That means when document is ready, get the data from JSON file. That means here we have a variable API URL is equal to, it is in a folder /data/ products.json. That is where data is coming from. So, and here we are configuring a simple dollar dot get JSON is a method. The URL is API URL. Okay, and it uses a callback function. If it is success, the data will come and the data will be stored in this object, data object. That means if this is successful, data will come and store in this data object. And you have to perform iteration over that object. You know that. That is an this data is an array. Then how to perform iteration on it? Dot each data and a function. It uses a key and a value. And what we have to do, we need to add the data. We know that it is having name and price. Then we need to create. So we need to create tr in the td. Okay. So close td, another td. Okay, and close tr. In the first cell, I need to display the value. So value dot name. And in the second cell, I need to display the price. That means value dot price. It is an iteration. And append to T body. T body is directly table body. And I will save this here. Save this here. Here data is not present here. It is coming from some other source. And we are consuming the data and presenting the data here. And by using $get JSON, it should get the data and display the data here. Get the data and display the data here. So here, what is problem? Once I will check, some problem is there. You can see that it is saying that XML HTTP request is unable to load the data because it has been blocked by CORS policy. That means cross origin resource sharing. In HTML, I told you about CORS related settings in image, if you remember. Actually, it is saying that. So you cannot make a request through the file server. Currently, we are using a file server. We will open with our live server. That means the request has been blocked by browser. Browser is blocking the request because AJAX request can be handled through server. Okay, run this on live server. Right click and open with live server. Or you learned localhost, you can create that. And through live server, data is coming and displaying here. That is what actually live server. So because generally AJAX calls are not allowed through the file servers. So the browser will block the request. Then we have to start with the live server. It will work. So what we are doing here, simple. We are accessing the data from a JSON and we are presenting. This is what we need to handle and interact in the real world. I will show you some AJAX calls, how they are done, how AJAX methods are written. But if data is in a JSON form, this is a simple way of consuming the data and presenting the data. Just we have to use $get JSON. Now, how other options are used, AJAX calls are used. One more syntax, if I tell you, that's enough to understand this, how these AJAX methods will work. We will see that. That we will see tomorrow. Then tomorrow we can complete with this AJAX options also in jQuery. Right? Tomorrow, one more point I will show you jQuery UI, an introduction to that UI. You can also try that. Then we can finish this jQuery related concept. some overview examples exercises I will give to you, right? So in few more sessions, it will be finished. Maximum once we finish with this, it is done, right? So UI and some examples I will give. With that, we can complete all the concept, huh? Right? Then tomorrow we'll continue.